everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have my first story time video for you guys. So I decided that I was just going to kind of start at the beginning after I got married and kind of work my way through what the past 10 years have looked like for me and the lessons that I've learned along the way. So today I have the story of how we learned that we were infertile. So as you guys may guess, not really a super fun story, but I also think it's important to tell you guys, mainly for one, if someone's watching who's maybe going through it, maybe someone who's wondering if they're infertile, maybe someone who's just getting married like I was and has no idea about the world of infertility. Maybe you're just curious about it. For whatever reason, it's on my heart to share it with you guys, and so that's what I'm going to do. So when we got married, I was 19, my husband was 21, and I was ready to be a wife and mom. I know that's super young, but I was just ready for that responsibility. I was ready to have a family, that excitement of being a mom and being a wife and staying home and raising my family. That was so exciting to me. That's all I ever had really wanted. And so I had this big idea in my mind that I was going to have a honeymoon baby. I was going to marry the man of my dreams and I was going to have a baby right away and everything would be perfect. Well, that's not at all what happened. We had really excitement at the beginning. We were so excited to be trying to start our family, and Jeremy was on board with it, and we were just so excited, and my parents were excited. My mom had bought me baby clothes and little Batman socks because Batman's sort of our family thing, and so everyone around us was excited. Everyone knew that we were going to have a baby right away, and that's what our plans were, and so we were just really excited at the beginning. And then as each month went on, we were kind of starting to wonder, like, what's going on? Why aren't we getting pregnant? Everyone seems to be able to have babies super quick, but maybe this is just how long it takes. Maybe it just takes a couple of months. And we were young and we were naive and we just didn't know that there could be an issue. So after about a year of trying, we actually had a big job change in our family and we moved out to the Midwest, and that'll be a video coming soon of why we moved out there, what we were doing out there, the stories, the lessons, all of that fun stuff. That'll be coming. But when we moved out there, that kind of became our focus, was us doing our job out there. And so while we were still trying to have kids, at that point it wasn't on the forefront of our mind. We were getting settled in a new location. We were trying to build relationships because we didn't know anyone. So that kind of just took over our focus for a couple of months. So then after we got settled, we jumped back into it and we're thinking, here we are, we're in ministry, we're trying to serve the Lord, and He's not blessing us with a baby. And so what is going on? We had been praying for it, but we hadn't really been telling a whole lot of people that we were struggling with it. People who were close to us knew that we were trying, but nobody really knew, like, it was a struggle for us. Nobody really knew our heartache every month that we were experiencing. And so that became a really dark and lonely time, not only because we were away from our support group, but also because we were going through these motions of having really high excitement of maybe we'll get pregnant this month, and then it would be followed by extreme disappointment that it wasn't that month. And we just had no idea what was going on. And so as you can imagine, while we were out there, and our hearts, we've been trying for 2 years, we're trying to figure out what's going on, that's when all of the comments started coming. And maybe you've said some of these to people and you have no idea that they're hurtful, or maybe people have said these to you. But we have a video over on our Ups and Downs channel. I'll try to link that down below, of what not to say to someone when they're going through infertility. But one of the main things that happened was people would constantly say, oh, when are you guys having kids? You're so good with kids. When are you going to have your own? And that was just like constantly a sting. Like, obviously we were happy that people thought we were great with kids and were excited for us to have kids. But at the same time, it was just a constant reminder of what we weren't being able to have at that time. And so one of the most hurtful things that just sticks out in my mind during this time of us trying to have kids is we went to this church, and it was a church that we were associated with, and people kind of knew us, but kind of didn't. Again, you'll understand more in the later video of what I'm talking about. But we were at this church, and we were in the Sunday school group with people who were probably 10 to 15 years older than us, so it wasn't a group that we really were, like, it wasn't for young couples like we were. They were more like established families. And we were talking about love and godly love, and Jeremy had made the comment that we didn't really know and understand true love, that we weren't capable of giving true love because only Jesus is, only God is. And this man stopped us and looked at us and he said, do you have kids? And we said no, and like we knew it was coming, we knew the feeling that was coming, and like obviously just to say you don't have kids when that's been our heart's desire for 2 years now, obviously that's just like already the sting. And he said, you'll understand when you have kids. And that was just such a sting to us because we had just packed up our lives. We had sold a lot of our things. We had left our friends behind, left our family behind, and we had moved across the country to raise kids. And I just remember this feeling of being so hurt. And I felt like nobody understood, and I felt so alone, and I felt like everyone around us can have kids, and everyone around us is being blessed with kids. And of course your mind goes to the people who can't take care of their kids very well, or people who don't really want kids but still have kids, and your mind goes through all these extremes, and yet you're desiring it so bad. And this man just pointed out that we will never know true love until we have kids. And in our minds, it's a very possible reality that we will never have kids. And so on top of getting over the fact that we'll never have kids, now we're being told we'll never know true love until we have kids. And so that was just such a hurtful time in my life, but it was also such a pivotal moment in my life where I kind of understood at that moment that people just don't understand. People have no idea what you're going through. And that was a time in my life that I thought, I'm going to be more aware of what I say to other people because I just never know what they're going through. And I'm sure I'm not perfect at that. I'm sure I say things without knowing that I'm being hurtful to someone. But it was a time in my life where I realized, like, I need to be more aware of what I'm saying to other people because I'd never know what they're going through. So it was around this time that we decided maybe seeing a doctor was going to be our next step. We had been intentionally trying for 2 years and we had seen no luck. So I went off to the doctor. She started us on this medication called Clomid, and we thought, okay, this is it. This is our chance to get pregnant. We have help now. We have a little bit of an answer of what might be going on. Although she didn't give us an answer, she just said sometimes people need this help. And so we thought, okay, well, this is it. So we started it month 1. We were so excited. We thought, this is it. So, you know, obviously in our minds, we're starting to think, oh, if we get pregnant this month, this will be when our baby is due and this will be perfect. And we were so excited. Month number 1 went by and no baby. And same thing that happened for month 2. And by month 3, we were already kind of defeated with it. I was on a medication that wasn't really great for my body. And I just wasn't, we knew we weren't going to get pregnant on it after the first 2 months of not being pregnant. And so by the 3rd month, we thought, okay, we'll try it, give it one last shot, and that's it. And again, not pregnant. So we went back to the doctor after that summer in the fall, and she thought, well, maybe it's time for you to see a fertility specialist. And so this is kind of where our big journey begins. We had no idea about fertility or anything at this point. We didn't know why we couldn't have kids. We didn't know what the options were for us to have kids. We just wanted kids. And so we thought, okay, we'll head to the fertility specialist and we'll see what this is all about. So the closest fertility specialist to us at that time was 2 hours away. And so that's where we decided to go. We just thought, if this is going to be our next step to have kids, this is what we have to do, is travel these 2 hours to go. And so we went and we met with the doctor, and we were kind of excited because obviously we're nervous about like what we might hear and what we might learn, but at the same time we're excited because it's like, now we're finally at the place where we're going to get our answers. We're going to find out why we can't have kids, and we'll be able to fix it, and that'll be that, and we'll be able to have kids. And so at that first appointment, our doctor taught us quite a lot about the female and male reproductive systems, and it actually was helpful, but it was kind of, you know, we're young, and it's not something that you really talk about a lot, so we're a little like embarrassed about it. So he decided to send us for some testing. And the way the testing goes is you normally try Clomid, and then you test the male infertility because that's the easiest one to get. All the stuff with the female is a little bit more in depth. So I think we got blood work, and then Jeremy was able to get his sperm tested. So after that, we got a call from the doctor saying that they had his results, but they wanted to actually send me for more testing too based on my blood work. And so we did a couple of different tests where they were able to look inside, see if my tubes were open, see what all was going on, and figure out if there was stuff going on with me or if it was Jeremy. And so we were just at this point where we're a full month in of just test after test after test. So finally, we get to November of 2010, and we have our appointment to go meet with our doctor for our results. And at this point, you know, we're thinking, okay, well, maybe one of us has something, but maybe they'll be able to fix it. Maybe it's nothing at all, but we kind of hope that it's something so that way we can get some answers. And we're feeling all these feelings on this 2-hour drive, and we're just talking through it, and we're hashing through it, and we're excited, and we're nervous, and we're scared. And we get to this doctor's appointment, and he sits us down, and he tells us the worst thing that we could possibly hear. And he basically tells us that we have a 0% chance of ever having kids on our own. So he tells us that we have male infertility factor, where they test 3 things. They basically test how many sperm there are, they test how fast they move, and they test how long they live. And for Jeremy, there wasn't a lot of sperm count, and there wasn't a fast moving rate. And so basically they just kind of hung around a little bit. And our joke now, years later, is that they're kind of like Crush from Finding Nemo, where they're like, yeah, dude, like that's what they're like. They're just chill. They're fine to just hang out. They don't have anywhere to go. They're just hanging out. And so that's kind of like what we've decided they're like, but we call it low and slow. Jeremy has low and slow sperm. So then he turns to me and he says that when they did one of the tests, which is where they inject some saline with dye into your uterus, and then they watch it go through your reproductive system. So they watch it go through your fallopian tubes. When they had injected it, they could see that my uterus actually was kind of dipped down a little bit. So instead of it being like a flat surface on top, it had a big dip, which he said that if we ever were to get pregnant, the chances of us being able to carry that baby were super slim. And so that was disheartening to know that even if we do on some miracle of a chance get pregnant, I'm probably not going to be able to carry it, and we're going to miscarry our baby. And then he says that's not all, and that my fallopian tubes are actually blocked, and he didn't know what they were blocked by. He didn't know if they were closed. He didn't know what it was. He couldn't tell that. He could just tell that when they injected the saline, it didn't go all the way through. And so he said, based on that, based on Jeremy's male fertility factor, we were just not going to be able to get pregnant on our own. And if by this craziest slim chance that we would probably lose the baby. So he gave us a couple options from there. I obviously needed to have surgery to fix my uterus so that we could carry a baby. And he recommended that that be what we do first, because obviously everything else that he's going to do is going to be kind of pointless if I can't carry a baby. So we started gearing that up in our minds. And then he's talking about how after that, the chances of us still getting pregnant are so slim because of our male fertility factor. And we don't know what's causing this blockage. But while he's fixing my uterus, he wants to search for endometriosis because he thinks that is probably the case of what's going on. And so then he tells us that because of the male fertility factor, that our only option to ever have kids is going to be IVF, or in vitro fertilization. And normally there's some other non-invasive procedures like IUI that they can do to get you pregnant. But because of our male fertility factor and whatever was going on with me, our only option was going to be IVF. And so we walked out of there just completely devastated. We just had no one to talk to about it. And we had each other, and we leaned on each other, and we cried and we prayed. But we just felt like a despair like we've never felt before. Like the chances of us ever having kids was just completely ripped away from us. So that's November. The holidays are coming up. We've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, and so we're just trying to figure out how we're going to go through all of these times when we're supposed to be so joyful and so happy, and we just feel so dead inside. We feel like our hopes and our dreams of what our future was going to be like as a family is just completely shattered. And so we just decided that if we were ever going to still have these dreams of being pregnant and having a baby, that surgery was just the next option for us. And, you know, we felt a glimmer of hope in that, you know, this is the first step, we can get this taken care of. But at the same time, we're thinking we've been trying for 2 years, and we're probably even still 6 months out because of scheduling a surgery around the holidays, and then the recovery time, and then starting IVF after that, if we can somehow manage to find the money, because we knew that the money for that was just outrageous. So in our minds, we have all this going on, but at the end of the day, we decided we'll schedule the surgery, let's do the first step, and see where we go from there. And so that is where I'm going to leave off this story. And so obviously there's much more to our story. This is only really the beginning, the tip of the iceberg for us, as far as having children goes. And so stay tuned for the future story times to come. But on a side note, I just want to let you guys know that if you or someone you know is struggling with infertility, is struggling with these feelings, please let them know that they're not alone. Please feel free to share my videos, share my channel, share my Instagram, share whatever information you have with them, because obviously we know that that can be such a dark and lonely time, and it can feel so isolating, especially when the people around you don't understand and don't seem to be experiencing it themselves. You can just feel so alone and like nobody understands the hurt. And we do. I do. I understand the hurt. And so I have decided to share my story to help others and to also be an encouragement and to be a resource, honestly, for anyone who's going through it. So if you know someone or if you're going through it, please do not hesitate to reach out. Also, leave a comment down below what you want to hear. I know I kind of talked about a couple little side stories about us moving to the Midwest and changing jobs, and obviously our future infertility. So if you have other ideas that you would like to hear, let me know. Leave them down below or send me a message or whatever, and I'll definitely take it into consideration. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.